Hey people, it's finally planting day. It's the 25th of May, the Memorial Day weekend, 4th anniversary of the garage fire. So maybe we'll barbecue. Maybe we'll barbecue this afternoon to celebrate, even though that was never determined to be the cause of the fire. But I had been using the grill that afternoon before the fire started at 9 o'clock. So anyway, here's planting day. This video is going to appear to be heavily edited because the software I use the YouTube editor, and I can't go to pause on the camera. I have to turn it off and combine videos when I'm, when I upload them, which is not so good, but that's life. So here we have some red pepper, some green pepper, some early girl. The early girls are really in a hurry to start producing their 70-day, and I don't know how far along they are already. And then some big boy here, they're not as far along. So basically I'll just tell you how this is going to work because I can't record the whole thing. The other day I came out with a post hole digger and I dug 7 holes, 4 holes, another 7 over there, and a big one over there that's going to be for one of the poles for the pole beans. That we'll get on with that later. I have to cut. I don't have saplings to cut, so I'm going to cut 2 long flat branches off the tree on the far end of the property. Anyway, for now I'm starting with these holes here. I'm going to do the tomatoes first in the big holes, and then the peppers just get smaller holes. I used to try and till the whole area with a pitchfork, and then you end up sinking in the mud and all that. So now I just do the areas I need to work with. The holes are a lot deeper than they need to be for the tomatoes. So I'm going to put back a little bit of dirt first, and then when I get near the top of the hole, I'll bring the tomato plant and a couple of spoons full of compost here out of this, and then I'll just use a trowel to firm it in. So I don't know. I guess we can do one right quick, but I don't want this video to get too huge or we'll all be here all day. I also have some fertilizer, some of that crystallized fertilizer. So now this has been aerated and taken care of already. Sitting there in the open. Now here's an early girl. It's not too badly root bound. It's actually a lot drier than it should be. I left it out in the rain, but it was up against the house, so it didn't get that wet. And what we'll do here is take off the bottom, a few bottom branches. We don't need those because tomato plants will form roots. Can't take too many, you need enough to leave the plant to photosynthesize. But tomato plants will form roots on all that. So we're going to break up this little root ball a little bit so that the roots will go out in directions, and then going to plant it most of the way up here. Get a scooper. This compost I make myself, it's coffee grounds and potato peels and kitchen stuff. Leaves and grass clippings if I happen to bag any. And we just fill in the rest. The compost is on the pots where the roots are going to be. I'll be doing updates during the summer to show you how this is coming along. So, right close up to the fence. I'll be at the stake up to the fence. As soon as they start to produce, maybe I'll come back with a rake later and do that a little better. I don't like to plant them. I could have planted them over the past couple of days, but we get these flash floods these days, these massive thunderstorms that show up as purple and red on the radar, and I don't want them getting knocked over before they really have a chance. So just put that in the fence. And alright, that's basically the idea. So I have 2 6-packs of these to do. These and the early girl here and the big boys, and then I'll bring you back later when I go on to the peppers or whatever the next step is. Welcome back. It's 2 o'clock already. I just came from a break and sorting the seeds, which I'll show you in a second in the wheelbarrow. Here's how I decided where that rack of tomatoes goes. This on the screen, because it's 2 o'clock and it's just starting to get shady over here, so they get morning sun from sunrise till a little after 2. It'll stay over here. So here's 7 tomatoes. 6 of them are the early girl, and then that one on the end is one of the other ones, one of the big boys. This one over here, there's 3 on this side. That middle one looked pretty pathetic when I put it in there. His root was kind of separated from the plant, and it was wilted like that when I put it in there. So I don't know. It's not uncommon to have a couple here and there that don't make it. The guy Wayne sells them in loose pot, in separate pots, single pots, so I can always buy a replacement when we go down there on Tuesday. Here's 4 more of the big boys. They're a much sturdier plant than the early girl, but they're a few more days of waiting for tomatoes. Then the leeks are here. These are the horseradish, the garlic. That's doing very well. That comes up on its own, and the horseradish is doing well. I will have to get out the things to do the snails, the snail away stuff. And then there's 3 rows here of chives. They're nice size. I harvested once or twice already, and they're due again. Now here's 5 holes. There's the last of the big boys on the end, and then these other holes are for the orange tomato with the lower acid. And we asked Wayne about it when we picked these up on Tuesday, and the guy had shorted them, so he's going to try and make a deal with one of his buddies and pick up however many he can get. So we'll stop by there on Tuesday and see if he got them in and take it from there. And then here's the 12 peppers. I kind of mixed them up a little bit so they're all spaced out, half green, half red. And here's the seeds that I have to find rows for and get ready to put in now. I didn't cut down the poles yet for the beans, so it'll be a while. There's 2 packages of pole bean seeds, some stuff left over from last year, including homegrown pumpkin in that container, and then here's all the new stuff. 2 varieties of cucumbers. They're going to go on the last stake that you just saw, and then some pumpkin and squash and zucchini. Here's a, where the hell did it go? It's in here. There's a butternut down there. And then it looks like I have more seed than I have room for. I don't know how that happened, but we'll see. The procedure is going to be a little bit different here. Since I don't need big holes for this, I need mounds. I will put the compost on the ground and then come with the post hole digger and kind of mix it around. I guess I can bring you back maybe if it's interesting looking in a minute. Meantime, I'm going to do the same along this, and then put the cucumbers on there, one brand on each side, and hopefully I'll use this as my tracker so I remember where I put the seeds, because otherwise it's too tough to label and the poles I put little stakes in there and the packages get destroyed when you try to use that as a marker and like that. So alright, I'll see you again in a minute. Market Maker cucumbers on the left side, and then I got Super 8, I think, something 8 on the other side. I knew I'd forget, but I have the package right there in the fence. So these are basically on flat ground and half-inch deep, so they're pretty easy to do. Then there's the hole for the pole beans that I'm not going to get to today. I have to cut the branches first. I'll do that tomorrow. It's already now what? It's 2:30. So I did those, and then I have that spot over there to work with. Right now, I'm going to do some squash. I kind of filled in these holes next to here where the tomato plants are going to be, and then I'll dig it back up and put compost. So these 4 piles of compost here, for the squash you want it on mounds. You usually plant 3 seeds to a mound, and then you plant them on a mound and tamp them down. So what I did is put raw compost on there, which I just refilled the wheelbarrow, and I'm going to grab it with the post hole digger a little bit, just to mix it around a little bit so it's not pure compost. And then I'm going to plant mostly new seeds for this year with a few of the old ones from last year, kind of as insurance if something goes wrong. And then I usually try to keep a few left over in case we have another flash flood, which we had this time last year, and things like that. If stuff get washed away or if the birds get at it, then I get another chance. You can plant 2 or 3 times. When the weather gets hot, everything catches up. That's pretty much why we don't plant indoors around here, because even if you have them started inside, you put them out here and they don't do anything until it gets warm, and then you plant new ones and they all catch up to each other. So there's no point. Might as well go straight when the ground is warm, and the ground is warm now, so I'm in good shape. So I'll get this row of squash done and go from there. See what other kind of seeds I have. I have mostly squash, butternut, and zucchini left to go, and some pumpkins that'll go down near the end. 1 pie for 1 pumpkin, and hopefully I'll have better luck than I did last year. Alright, this would be the neighbor coming down the field. They moved out somewhere, but they still come down, and so whatever. Hey people, it's day 2. Monday the 26th. Here's the row of, what I put in yesterday. The assorted row of squash seeds. Peppers all took well overnight. And then I'll wait till later to go over most of these. I can't believe I did something really stupid and put the leash on the wrong dog coming out. So now I got Mr. Coonhound running around the pasture somewhere. I believe that's him right there. So I'll have to wait till he gets good and ready to come back, and then I'll put him on his collar, his thing. Anyway, so I'm back at it. It's a little overcast today, not as pleasant as yesterday. And I purposely waited till now, till after all the rain during the week. We had thunderstorms and severe thunderstorms, and I didn't want to get new seeds to get washed away. So I waited, and now the forecast for tomorrow is 50% chance of thunderstorms. So hopefully if we do get any, they won't have that heavy rain with the oranges and reds and purples. So alright, I'll bring you back when I get some more of these mounds planted and some seeds. Everything's pretty much the same as yesterday. Going to be a few mounds there, and right over on the shady side, and then down this way, and then I'll come back mainly for my own reference so that I remember what I put where. And one of these times I have to remember to experiment with the cotton ball over the microphone when it's really windy. Today there shouldn't be any problem. There's a light breeze. But on days when it's really windy, supposedly you can get rid of that wind sound across the microphone by putting some cotton balls. So I'll have to experiment with that. See if I can get it to sound better on windy days. Alright, enough talk, more action. Catch you later. This is pretty much for me. The cucumbers are on that pole, on that trellis, and then there's 2 rows of almost all squash, except for the hole closest to me on the right has a few squash in it. I mean all zucchini except for a little bit of squash, and then that new row over there has all squash. Not the kind we prefer, but just insurance squash in case the good kind doesn't come out if we don't have enough pollinators. We were short on crop last year because usually this thing sounds like it's buzzing or like it's alive in the morning. And then last year it was very quiet. There just weren't enough bees and whatever in there. So I have what looks like an empty row in the middle. Maybe I'll put some leeks, which didn't take it all last year, but in the meantime it's squash, zucchini, squash, and then I have a pumpkin and a butternut, and I'll get on with that now. Okay, from the end is 2 mounds of pumpkins, and then 2 rows of butternut, And then this row here was oh, forget, I'll have to look it up already. There's 4 piles of something, I think they're more squash, and then the 2 zucchini and the cucumbers. And I still have one more seed package of zucchini, and then I have the beans, and I'll see what I can put down in that section. I have a few gourd seeds left over from last year, and I have 5 gourds that I produced last year that need cleaning and sanding and ready for decoration. So it's time for a coffee break and try to retrieve the coon hound and feed the princess. And then feeding is in making eggs, but I don't actually have to hand feed her yet like I do Benny. But anyway, so be back to you later. It's I don't have my watch on, but I don't know. The sun's up there, so it's getting later. Takes time, amazingly. Okay, people, party time. On the way back, I'm going to stop and whack this with the saw too. It's a little too big around, and it's not straight enough to use for the pole beans. So I will show you which ones I'm going to whack down. I'm going to take a break to see if I can track down the coon hound. Sound like a dog barking up on the hill. And then when we got back, I saw him run through the yard, so it wasn't him. So I have no idea where the son of a bitch went. As long as he stays out of traffic, it ain't too bad. But anyway, I think you see what I'm going to take. Certainly this long one here with all the leaves. And then I'll have to find something else. Somehow I will find 2. I'll show this part for anybody who's thinking about doing it. I don't know if you remember how long the pole was, but it's in there in the bottom. And then I put a little bit of dirt in, and I took this 2x4, and I started tamping it down. You can't just put the whole, the whole wad of dirt in there and expect it to be tight. Put a little bit at a time. Put a little bit more. Tamp it again. I put the tall one behind the garage here because it should be a little more sheltered from the wind than the area where the other one is. And then there's this old fence post next to me here, which is leaning in its own right, but maybe I can straighten this bastard out. And then when the time comes, if I need to tie the pole beam to something, I'll have this post here that I can use. There's an old weed. Another weed. Anyway, so it's starting to get more stable. We're about halfway there. The weed in there, what the hell? Bite me. Huh. Want to see a strip tease? I can be a pole girl, yeah. Okay. Alright, alright. Forget it, I won't. Okay, now as usual, I'll put the, the compost around there and see you later. Well, took a while, but it's done. Damned if I can remember what's here now. Pumpkins and butternut somewhere here, maybe butternut, and I have no clue. I knew that would happen. But the pole beans are in. There's the first pole. Tomorrow I'll get hopefully get the orange tomato with low acid. And then there's more pole, the other pole, short one, but it's got two legs up top for them to grow on. Something else here, squash, because squash is our favorite crop, so I hate to waste space. And then one more, I think squash or something over there, and 4 or whatever this was. So I'll be surprised when stuff starts growing, I guess, because I can't really remember what's what except for what I labeled on the earlier video. I still have compost in here. I'd like to repot some house plants while I'm still out and sweating, but I also have to run the mower around, the hand mower, and get in the spots that I couldn't get on the tractor. So I think that'll be next, and then maybe tomorrow I'll get to waxing vehicles and doing other stuff when I get home from the picking up the plants. Mr. Coonhound is still running around. He was laying on the grass over here last time I saw him. Yep, look at that little bastard. He just won't come over here though, because he's not ready to give up yet. He wants to stay close to home, but he's not ready to come in. Oh well. That's what I say. Oh well. Can't deal with them now. Too tired. Too tired to go running after puppies. Alright, anyway, hopefully this YouTube video, either tamping poles or whatever, might have been of some use to somebody. Otherwise it's use to me to track where the plants are and compare how things go this year compared to last year, which I still have to do because that'll tell me when the flash flood was last year because I videoed it. So it's a little bit overcast, but otherwise still a beautiful day, warm enough to work outside but not excessive. And hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend. My buddy Adam is always in my thoughts. He had cancer, bladder cancer, for my Agent Orange when he was on a ship off Nam. The thing, one of the canister things blew up on the ship, and well, they all were floating in it. I mean, talk about exposure. It wasn't light exposure, it was heavy exposure, and it caught up with him just like they say it can. So we send him positive energy all the time because he had prostate cancer too, and he's still not in remission, but even though they took all that parts out. So that's how we remember some veterans on Memorial Day. Remember the living as well as the deceased. On that note, hope you had a great weekend. Later.